All right, so if you're here, it's because you're having a difficult time with this problem right here, or just want a little bit of help. So our problem that we have is 4.3 equals z over 8 minus 2.1. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, so we'll just unpack this. But the first thing that we need to think about when we're trying to solve an equation is, what is our goal? What are we trying to do? And what we are trying to do here is to isolate the variable. So we want to get z all by itself. So that means all the numbers are on the left side, the variable's on the right, which means this 8 needs to go over, and this minus 2.1 also needs to get moved over, because we don't want either one of them there. So since we have two numbers that need to move, that means we have a two-step equation. And since we have a two-step equation, we have a process for that. That's in our guided notes. So step one is to make the constant equal 0. The constant is minus 2.1. So we need to do the inverse of that. If we take something and subtract 2.1 from it, in order to undo that, we are going to add 2.1. So z over 8 minus 2.1. We're going to undo subtracting that by adding that 2.1 back in. And since we added it to the right side, we need to add it to the left. 4.3 plus 2.1. 4.3 plus 2.1 equals 6.4. And that gives us z over 8. All right. So now we have made our constant equal 0, which means it's gone now, because minus 2.1 plus 2.1 cancels out to 0. Anything minus or plus 0 is just itself. So now we move on to step 2. Step 2 says that we need to make our coefficient equal to 1. So in this instance, our coefficient is actually going to be 1/8. We're dividing by 8, which means we need to do the inverse of that. If we look at our inverse operations, we have addition and subtraction, and we have multiplication and division. So since we were dividing by 8, we need to do the opposite, which is multiply by 8. On the right side of the equation, we have z divided by 8 times 8. Since the times 8 divided by 8 undo each other, those just cancel out, which gives us z times 1. Now on the left side of the equation, we have 8 times 64, or 8 times 6.4. So let's go ahead and type that into our calculator again. Times 6.4. That gives us 51.2. 51.2. So 51.2 is equal to z times 1. 1 times anything is just itself. So 51.2 equals z. We'll go ahead and check our work on that just to make sure that we're correct. And then once we have, we're going to go on to problem number 6, and we'll use these exact same steps in order to solve problem 6.